Again, hello everyone. My name is Sharifat Akorede. I first of all let me tell you a little bit about myself before I delve into the discussion for this time, this evening, this this morning, where whatever time it is that it is wherever you are. I am a licensed mental health therapist. I'm a social worker. And I have been working in this field for about 13 years or more. Um, since I relocated to Houston, Texas, that's when I received my licensure. However, I finished my master's degree, my second master's degree in Chicago at the University of Chicago. um, 2008 was when I graduated. So I've been working in the mental health field for quite a bit, and I want to talk about something that always, throughout my professional life, it has always come into view. I've always had exposure to people who have suffered from mental health illnesses that is related to childhood sexual abuse. Also, I've worked on the other side. I've worked with the perpetrators, the offenders of sexual abuse, as a sex offender therapist in the state of Texas, and that was one of the hardest uh, jobs that I've had, one of the hardest ones to deal with because um, having to listen to the offenders who have been caught and persecuted, and they have been convicted. So there's a program in most of the states here in United States, um, which is called the Sex Offender Treatment Program. It is to prevent reoffending. That's the main purpose. Most legislators believe that once these people are caught and they've been convicted, they should just lock them up and throw away the key. But there's a group of people who have thought beyond that, that it's better to try and treat these people of the ailment, of the illness, of the psychiatric pathological problem that they have that's making them commit these crimes, rather than just lock them up and punish them. So the program is a rehabilitation program, and in my opinion, I think it's every country, every society needs it, because if you punish those who have been caught, what about those who have not been caught? So many people um, never these atrocities never came to the light of the day. So I think it's one of the programs that everyone should, every country, every society, every state, every city should have. So but I want to talk about preventing this problem in our society. It's a global problem. It really is a global problem. There is no society that can boast and claim that they don't have this problem in the society. It could be committed by biological parents, especially fathers. Most of the cases are fathers against daughters, and sometimes fathers against sons. So we've seen all of this. We've heard it. It's very, very common in this world of today. So we all need to start talking about it. There's always there are some wrong um, proverbs or sayings that what every family has a skeleton in the closet, so it should not be exposed. It's not that we're advocating that, just go in the street and be shouting and stuff like that, but there has to be consequences for these types of crimes. The children are the victims. Mostly, most of the victims are children. Maybe 95% of sexual assaults are children who are in care of these trusted people, either blood relatives or family friends, or people in a position of authority over them, in schools, in learning, learning institutions or faith-based organizations, churches and mosques, and people who have been given the trust of these children. And the trust is also the family trusts most of these um, uh, people who have perpetrated and betrayed the trust. So, the prevention aspect, there are so many ways that we can prevent it. At least if we can save a few children, even if not all of them, but we hope to be able to save as many as possible from experiencing this terrible, horrible crime and sin and wrongdoing that can affect the children throughout their lives. When they become adults, these things, they don't leave children, they don't leave them. It destroys people's marriages, relationships, well-being. People go through it because it's a trauma. It's a trauma that has happened to them. So people go through this memories of these things, in exhibiting nightmares, not trusting anybody, because if someone that they trust has betrayed the trust and cross the boundaries that they're not supposed to cross, it's hard for such a person to ever trust anyone or believe in people. So it has a very lasting, um, terrible, damaging effect on the victims. So, in my profession, when we're treating people who have been subjected to these types of atrocities, we in order to help them to heal, to change their state of mind, their mental status to be improved, we use the word survivors rather than victims. So they would leave the victim stance, leave that behind them, and see themselves as survivors, and indicate the strength that they have for them to still be standing alive and not having committed suicide. Many may have done so, because these are mental, it disturbs their mental health, psychologically, emotionally, in every way that you can think of, a damage that can happen to a person. This sexual abuse, especially when they're very, very young, is very lasting if they do not get some help. So I want to talk to parents and caregivers and the entire community, because we've been seeing so many of these things come out because of the social media. So many exposures have been discovered. Is for us to be aware of what is going on with young children, whether boys or girls. When you see them acting up, they're being given labels. They're trouble kids, they're problematic children and stuff like that. You need to find out why they're behaving like that. Something is going on in their homes or elsewhere, at school, or wherever that they are frequenting. something is going on. It's not just that they just become problematic. So, pay attention to changes in them, not being able to sleep at night, having frequent nightmares. um Also, they might, because when children are introduced to sexual activities very early in their lives, when they are not biologically prepared, emotionally prepared to deal with that, then they become sexualized very early. And when they become sexualized, they might act out and think it's normal, and touch other kids in their school environment, and they will be then punished and disgraced, not knowing that they are going through it from an adult somewhere, in the environment. So all these things, parents need to pay attention. Also, leaving your kids, leaving girls with male caregivers or male or family members is something that one needs to be very, very careful and be on guard. It's not that we are advocating that people should become paranoid, thinking every man is going to molest your child or abuse your child. But you have to, in Yoruba they say "Tójú tìyẹ́ làparò fi ń ríran." You have to be on guard. You have to watch out for signs. You have to see what, you know don't allow um don't allow things to happen. Don't give room for access, too much access to your child, both boys and girls, because a lot of negative things are going on sexually with people, and they may want to express it, secretly with a young person whom uh, they would, systematically maneuver and manipulate, not to say anything to anyone. So some of the grooming, I want to go over some of the grooming signs, some of the warning signs, so that the potential perpetrator has, is access to your child, access to that minor. Maybe the mother has gone to the market, and she can't take children to the market, and she leaves children at home in care of some people. The person that, it could even be another mother, another woman who is home, who is in the home environment, whom you leave your child with, but that person may not be the best protector for your child. That person may leave the child in another person's care and say, "Oh, I'm going to the market. Let me quickly go to the market." It takes just a few minutes for someone to do the wrong thing to any child. So, um, as we're trying to make a living, we also have to make sure that children are protected. Children in our care are protected, whether they are your biological children or not. We're responsible for their safety, and it's very important. So one of the things that um, the perpetrators, what they do is they select, they're very manipulative and calculative. So they will select a person whom they see as being vulnerable or shy or timid. They look at those signals, or lonely, or a child that is neglected. So they would try to make friends with that child, and pretend as if they are, they're friends, and they are the only ones who care about them. And if the child is needing that type of parental or guardian support and connection, and it's missing, that's when the perpetrator moves in, and observing those things, And also, again, once they gain access to that child, all they're going to be looking for opportunities to isolate that child from everyone, so take the child to a corner or in a room or somewhere where it's private. So one has to be aware of those things. Make sure that your children, you don't allow your children to be sent on errands. And I'm also talking to people in Africa, because people in Africa, especially in places where poverty is very, very high at this point in time, they have to fend, for the family. They have to do this and that. So sometimes the children are neglected, unintentionally, because they have to, look for ways to make a living. um so as far as the perpetrators, it does not matter if it's, to some of them, it doesn't matter if it's their biological children, if it's a stepchild, if it's a relative's child, a student in their care, um, if it's is an athlete or someone who is learning some kind of sports, and um their coaches or priests in affairs, and it's not there's no religious barrier. It's not I targeting any religious sect. It happens across the world, it happens everywhere. But the perpetrators themselves need to figure out how to, once they I keep saying it, when we were training and treating the sex offenders, we bring all this, we bring because they have to recount what they did, how they did it, the grooming stages, the assault stages, and the repeated assault stages, and how they continue to do all of this. And so they have to, in order for them to be paroled, for some of the rest of their years to serve, they have to really, really open up. So this allows us to learn about how they, you know target their victims, and how they succeed in molesting their victims. So once they isolate them, then they start developing trust, letting them trust them, and telling them things like, how special they are, they're so smart or beautiful or this and that. And then, I have a secret to tell you. They'll engage the child, and the child will feel so empowered and feel so happy that oh, this such a great person, wants me to be their confidant. So some of the things that they may be missing in their families, and maybe not, it's just that the perpetrators usually know how to manipulate human beings, and they do it for to adults too, you know so both men and women. So, and the part of the grooming stages is that they will start gently, like they will touch the child, like innocently, as if it's an accident, as if, like maybe even on the arm, on the hand, or the lap. They will start introducing touches, slowly desensitizing the child, the victim. So until, and then gradually they will progress to going, beyond the boundaries that they're supposed to be. So they will start making the moves, and sometimes introducing sexual topic. I can cite so many examples of what people had done, who would there was a man that singled out one of his daughters as his favorite. First, he let it go past the parental love, the father daughter love, and started engaging the child in touching and letting the child touch him, while of course while the mother is away and the other siblings are away, and normalizing it for the child and telling the child this is what daddies are supposed to do to daughters, to show their love. And so that's what the child thought, but instinctively the child knew that this is wrong. But and okay, so one of the things that they would do is that these abusers, they will tell they manipulate the children, the victims, into keeping secrets. That if you tell, it's either they threaten them that they will hurt somebody that they love, or they themselves, that they would, something bad will happen to maybe their mother, their father, or their siblings, somebody that they love, or that they would harm them in one way or the other. So the victim might feel like they have to protect these people that have been identified to him or her that they will hurt. So they will keep going through this. Um, and sometimes gradually they will introduce pornography to, they might introduce pornography to the child, to awaken the sexual feelings in the young person who are not psychologically ready for that. Or they might just discuss sexual topics with them, and of course they would the relationship that they would create with them would have secrecy, and that's the main weapon. That's one of the main weapon that they use, is secrecy. So that just be quiet, don't say anything. If you say anything, X, Y, and Z is what's going to happen to you or to somebody that you love. There was a man that was telling the victim, because the victim's mom was pregnant, that if you tell your mom, she's going to lose the baby. So that fear made the poor victim to be quiet, and going through all of this. Recently, there was social media a video that I saw of a father whose mother divorced, whose wife divorced him, and the young child stayed with the dad. So the dad started gradually grooming the child and started raping the child, aggravated sexual assault, started raping the child. And after a while, this is recently in one of the videos when he was caught. And after a while, he started inviting other people to come and have sex with his daughter, with his minor daughter. I think she's 11. I think he started on her at 11, and for a couple of years he was doing it and making money from the girl, prostituting his own daughter. And so, like I said, they groom the victim, and they groom the family. They groom the family so that the family can trust them and leave that child, that victim with them. So all of these things we need to be aware of. Also, because of the social media and the uh, world web, online stuff is happening. So many online sexual crime is happening. So there's also online grooming. A lot of kids are online. Not only kids, we adults are also always online most of the time. You don't know what your child is doing online. talking to someone, regularly, until they introduce pornography to them, and they also sometimes eventually they'll invite them out, and so many um crazy things have happened from this online exposure. So every one of us, we need to be on top of our game with our families. Children who are in our care, we need to take care of them in all aspects and keep them safe. But there are, so if a person knows, yourself, and God knows you, if you are already going, if you're already committing this crime, you need to get help. You need to stop and get help right away. Secondly, for the victims, the survivors need to get um, professional help in dealing with this and the effect of the abuse. Please, if your child or anyone that you know has experienced this, get them professional help. It's very critical. It's very critical to their well-being as an adult. So I hope this has helped a little bit, giving information to the community. We all need to be alert and on guard, and be very, very careful and watchful, and pay attention to our children, and our kids in our care, and make sure we need to uh, find ways to put them in a safe environment, and to always check that environment. We can't be too careful, but not that we should be paranoid. However, so much of this is happening around the world. I put some notes there that one in every nine girl, this is a United States statistics, and that is because a lot of them are reported, not most of them. In Nigeria and other African countries, I don't think we have good record of of reports. Some of them, a lot of them are not reported, and those that are reported are not documented. So one in every nine girls, when you have girls line up, stand side by side, one of them, at least one of them, is being abused or has been abused before. So it is a high number. That's too much. That is too much. And they say one in every 53 boys are sexually abused as well. And we're not even talking about physical abuse and all those, but this one is about sexual abuse, and sometimes they go hand in hand. A person who is sexually abusing a child might also introduce violence to it, and beating the child and threaten to beat the child if the child does not conform to his heinous crime and sin. So I hope we can all do some research. Google it. Google has a lot of information. I saw so many organizations in Nigeria that are addressing these issues, and helping children and families who have been subjected to these types of crimes, helping them to recover. So wherever you are, Google information, Google how to do your research, how to identify possible um, sexual abuse that is ongoing. you know Try to understand your child's behavior. Why is that child acting up, always getting in trouble, both boys and girls? Something is going on. Pay attention to that. And if you are the one committing the crime, you need to stop and get some help, get away from that situation. Don't put yourself in a situation where you'll be tempted again, because the once you start, you will just keep going, keep going, keep going, and at the end of the day, they will say, oh, it's the work of the devil. No, you had a choice. People who didn't do it, the devil is around also. So you be one of those who will not do such a thing. We can't blame everything on the devil. The devil does not force you to go and do things. You are the one who is responsible. You are the one that's responsible for whatever that you do. That's why, God gave us a choice. We're different from animals. We have intellect and we have control. So we should use our control to control the negative urges, you know. So I hope this is done a little bit, at least, of knowledge sharing. This is one of my public services as a person and as a therapist. Good luck, and I wish everyone well and safe living, happy, healthy living. Thank you. Have a wonderful day in life. Signing out, Sherifat Akorede. Bye.